Well, Mayor, on that note, we have a very special guest tonight. We're very excited to welcome onto the program an individual who may have a little bit of insight on the upcoming conclave and all things pertaining to the Catholic Church. We'd like to welcome onto the show Father Frank Pavone. Father Frank Pavone is the National Director of Priests for Life. He's the National Pastoral Director of Rachel's Vineyard and the Silent No More Awareness Campaign, and also serves as President of the National Pro-Life Religious Council. Father Frank Pavone, welcome to the show.
So good to see you. Where are we talking to you?
Well, Mr. Mayor, it's great to be with you. I'm at our headquarters in Titusville, Florida.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. You look very, very good. Happy Easter, Father.
Happy Easter to you.
So, Father, could you just tell us in your own words, I mean, how do you see the now that it's concluded and the Pope has gone to his eternal reward, how do you see the papacy of the Pope? I mean, it certainly was episodic and important. Some people think wonderful, some people think terrible, and some people think, as us Italians say, mezza mezza.
Well, you know, you look back at it, and certainly there were some very good parts of the message he gave to the world. He reminded us of God's mercy. That was a key theme that he hit on every day. And, you know, I had the chance to have about 5 meetings with him over the years.
Okay, wonderful.
In the course of my pro-life work. And he encouraged my work, and because especially, you know, we work to bring mercy and forgiveness to those that have had abortions and have asked God for forgiveness. And so the Pope encouraged us very much in that. He also gave a good lesson to the clergy. He said, you know, if you're pastoring your flock, you have to have the odor of the sheep on your clothing. So he taught people to, you know, be really with the people. But you and I, Mr. Mayor, go way back to Cardinal John O'Connor. I mean, if anybody taught that lesson, he was the man to teach that. We miss him, don't we?
We do. Oh yeah. But one of a kind.
Oh, one of a kind for sure. But I think, you know, aside from these things I'm saying now, I consider this to have been a papacy of confusion and of division. Right from the very beginning, I would be getting calls, other Catholic leaders would be getting calls, and they all followed the same script. Hey, the Pope just said this. What does he mean by that? That doesn't sound right. You know, that doesn't sound consistent with Catholic teaching. And I would say to them, hey, listen, I don't know what he means by that, but it's okay to be confused about what a pope says. You never have to be confused about what the faith says. The faith is clear. It's been solid for 2,000 years. And that's what we always have to keep our focus on. You know, we call the Pope the vicar of Christ. That's a referential term. He's supposed to be reflecting the teachings of Jesus. If he doesn't do that, you know, that's on him. It doesn't have to confuse us. But it's been terrible, really. I think a lot of people are, of course, we're all saddened and
of course,
obviously respectful of the office of the Pope and nothing against the man himself. But there's also a sense of, okay, now it's time for some healing in the church. You know, it is almost like a sigh of relief from the terrible, terrible burden that has been placed on many Catholics from some of the inexplicable things this Pope has done.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I see 2 or 3 things for which I respect him a lot. What he did, I thought he straightened out the finances of the church, and gave people a lot more confidence that it's being handled honestly. I think he finally showed that the church is beyond and prepared to make sure it doesn't happen again. You know, the scandals with the priests. I thought he did a good job of that. And then beyond that, I think he missed the time. I think the Cardinals didn't predict the period of time we were coming into.
Yes,
and they picked him when Obama was the president. Europe was going left wing. There was going to be one world, and I was also very upset with their appeasing China.
That's right.
And really, we're getting tremendous number of converts now, because the Catholic Church is one of the few established religions that has any kind of principles left.
Right.
And
Yeah,
it's really
exactly.
strange. You know, I almost feel like if there had been a more traditional pope, the gains would have been even greater.
Oh, I think so for sure.
But
You know,
now's the opportunity for it.
it is. It is. People are looking for meaning. You know, we need
Yes.
meaning in life as much as we need food and water and oxygen. And what the left has done is they've rejected the very concept of truth. Now, if you don't have truth, if you can just rewrite reality, make a man into a woman and a woman into a man, and you know, an open border is a secure border, and a violent riot is a peaceful protest. I mean, the Democrats are always taking these things and just twisting reality and up on top of itself. And so people are looking for some anchor of truth and certainty and meaning, and that's what more and more people are finding in the Catholic Church and in the Christian faith overall.
Now, what do you, the selection of a pope is always whether you're Catholic or not, it's one of the most fascinating processes. And with this movie out, The Conclave,
right?
What did you think of the movie? I got really upset with the ending, but what is have you seen it?
Actually, I know about the movie, but I actually have not watched it. No.
Yeah, I watched it on an airplane.
Did you?
Yeah. And it actually, I was really prepared to hate it completely. And I'm watching the movie, and then all of a sudden, I realized about 3/4 of the way in what the ending was going to be, and then I realized why I hated the movie. But it did a pretty good job of teaching people the basics of what they're going to go through now.
Yeah,
I mean, it showed how they lock the Pope's chambers, and they smash his ring, and the cardinals come together, and the way in which they debate by talking to each other informally. So I think actually, in some ways, it's very informative, and then it gets ridiculous. It gets completely, it gets Hollywood nuts.
but it is a fascinating process. You know, it has its roots way back in history. I mean, this is now going to be the 267th time we've done this, and these cardinals get together, and so there'll be, there'll be over 200 cardinals getting together, but only the ones that are under 80 years old can actually vote. The rest, I mean, they can all take part in the discussions and, of course, the prayers. It's interesting, you know, there's a rule that was put in place under John Paul II that campaigning is strictly forbidden. So literally,
the Americans are going to be in trouble.
Oh yeah. But the Cardinals, you know, they can't go to each other and say, "Hey, if I become Pope, you vote for me. I'm going to do this for you later on." You know, strictly forbidden. That doesn't mean that some won't do it, but and then they get together, and of course they're all flying into Rome now as we speak, and they're going to have. You think about it, they have a very serious duty to really get to know each other well. You know, they'll choose someone from among their number, and boy, they have to. And I was a little concerned about this actually because Pope Francis has not brought them together very much.
Yes, that's right.
Right? Yeah. Right. He appointed a lot of cardinals, but he didn't bring them together very often. So hopefully they've been doing that kind of work on their own. But then they go into the secret conclave. You know, once these days of mourning are completed and the Pope's funeral is finished, there'll be a few more days probably after that. And then they'll gather together. And it's like no communication in or out except by that smokestack. And I remember one year, I forget which Pope it was, but, you know, if the smoke comes out black, they didn't make a decision yet. If it comes out white, means they did. So the news was on, and smoke started coming out of the smokestack, and the reporter said, "Well, ladies and gentlemen, the smoke is definitely gray."
I think I remember one where they did get confused at the first one that came up.
Yes,
and people got excited thinking there was a new pope.
And that's right.
But I think this is a very important choice because the world needs an anchor right now.
Yes.
It seems like it's morally spinning around without solid values.
That's right.
Even for people that aren't Catholics, as long as they're not just hostile, they look to the Pope.
They do.
The closest thing we have to a moral leader in the world.
That's right. That's right. And you know, it's such an important time too because one of the things I've been thinking about during these days is that we had such a shift here in America, such a beautiful shift in this last election. People came out and they rejected the woke agenda. They rejected the ideology of the left. Now, many of those same people that went into the voting booths are sitting in the pews in church.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
And it's like they want the same shift in their church. They didn't reject a wokeness in their government only to have it presented in the pulpit. They want this rejected across the board. I hope these cardinals are perceptive enough to realize that these are the people. This is what God is saying through the flock, is that no more wokeness in the pulpit, no more wokeness in the Vatican. We've had too much of that, and if you get a really solid, common sense Pope that adheres to values, that knows the signs of the times, that rejects this woke ideology, that unlike Pope Francis, doesn't give any credence to these climate change agendas. Or
I never got that.
What's
the Pope doing with climate change?
What's he doing with that? Yeah, and open borders. I mean, that's just terrible. But if we get a Pope who's on the right track with all those things, imagine the dynamic of that Pope.
People are thirsting for it.
They're thirsting for it. And imagine someone like that then working on the world stage with someone like President Trump. I mean, that's like, there could be another, like with Reagan and John Paul II, right? The stuff that happened with that dynamic. And I just, then you'll get the United States and the church and the Vatican moving in the same direction. That's what the world needs right now.
Well, I've said that the single most important thing for America, because we have to bring a lot back, is to bring God back into America.
Yes.
And I try to say to people who don't believe in God, it's better for you if God is back, because we'll have a much more solid country.
Yeah,
you don't have to believe it, but you know we will.
It's going to be better for you.
And I think that's true for Europe. I mean, Europe has gotten so far, Western Europe, not Eastern Europe, but Western Europe has become hostile to the religion that defined Western Europe.
So true.
It's got to be brought back. Italy, because of Giorgia Meloni and what's happened there, Italy is making that transition.
They are.
But right now, the Catholics that are growing are in Asia and Africa,
right,
South America, and America.
Yep. I hope we get an African Pope, actually. I think that would be very exciting to get one.
Wouldn't that be?
Yeah.
And they're very conservative, right? They a lot of them split from the Episcopal Church.
Yes.
Remember, over their issues. So, well, Father, it's been a great pleasure talking to you. We'll talk again before this happens.
Please.
I want to get your wisdom on it, all right?
Please. It's an honor to be with you, Mr. Mayor.
It's an honor to be with you. And
I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, I hope to see you in Florida when I get back there. I should be back in a couple of days.
Please. Okay, great. Thank you.
Happy Easter again.
Happy Easter.